I feel like the best place to start is from the bottom. Most of the time, we're in situations that we feel are not ideal for our life. I think a lot of times we wish away our situation so much because we think that it is required for us to be successful. But at the end of the day, even people in the best of situations don't necessarily turn out the way that you would expect sometimes. And depending on what you do from the situations that you're in says a lot about how successful you will be. I remember growing up and being asked in middle school by one of my teachers, what did I want to be when I grew up? And my answer was, I wanted to be successful. And with tears in her eyes, she literally told me that with that mindset, I could do anything in life because it was already developed in me. And even back then, I didn't necessarily know what she meant, but that never left my mind. It was always a reminder anytime I thought about my life. If you're someone who is in a situation and you feel like your situation is holding you back in some type of way, or you feel like the situation is blocking you or stopping you, I want you to know that 9 times out of 10, that's not necessarily the case. I used to think that I didn't have control over my life at all. But at the end of the day, I realized that there was certain aspects of my life that I could control. I know growing up, you might be younger, you might feel like you can't leave a certain situation, you can't necessarily change your environment. What you can do is develop a different type of mindset in those situations. I feel like what really affected me the most in my adolescence, my younger adult life, was the fact that on top of my situation not feeling ideal, my mindset made it worse. Me thinking of my situation in such a negative way and telling myself things like, you'll never get out of this, or this is just your reality, and all of these things, like, it made my situation seem a million times worse. It may seem hard initially, but that's just a trick from the enemy, and you have to learn how to battle yourself. Like, most of the time it's really you versus you. Like, I used to think that it was me versus everybody, me versus them, me versus the world. But at the end of the day, if I can't conquer me, I've already lost before I've stepped out in the world. I've already let myself conquer me before I even went out to go conquer the world. So you have to fight the battle with yourself and win the battle with yourself first if you ever want to be successful in this life. Coming to God was the best thing that I could have done, because there was so many obstacles in my life that made me feel like I was alone. It made me feel like I was fighting life by myself. But to know that I was created by the Creator and that God loves me and He saw fit all of the different life experiences that I've had for my life, I know that I'm in good hands. And I think it comes with maturity. Like, once you start becoming mature in faith and you start walking with God more, and you start really like diving into His word and allowing Him to speak to you, you feel like it's easier to navigate life from a standpoint of feeling like you have armor, you have protection, you have guidance. When you're going through life and you feel like you have no guidance, it's like you're behind the wheel and you're just like going left and right, like you don't even know how to drive. Like, and I think for me, that was where I struggled a lot growing up. I didn't really have that as my backbone, my foundation. So I feel like when you're starting from the bottom and you start from the bottom, sometimes you got to get knocked down to climb back up with the right foundation. You have to get knocked down to really set the tone, set the pace, and lay the foundation correctly. Like, with God as my foundation now, I know that my building is strong, my tower is strong, and I'm going to keep building and keep going up because I have God. It's a big mistake a lot of people make, is the fact that you want to be the architect of your own life. You want to build your own tower, but you're building it on sand. You're building it on mud. You're not building it on concrete with firm foundation and with iron rods. Like, you're literally building it with straw. You're building it with paper. And the Bible even talks about this too, like how you build your house is all about how your house is going to stand. Like, if I'm building my house and I'm focused on only me, I'm only worried about what I got going on, I'm not focused on building a relationship with God or a firm foundation, then I can expect that I might build my house, but the next day it might fall. The next day it might rain. The next day it might flood. And that's the thing that you have to understand. Like, you're not building the foundation to only sustain yourself. You're building the foundation to sustain everything and everyone around you. What I'm doing is bigger than me. Who I'm trying to help is bigger than me. What I stand for is bigger than me. Until you grasp that, you'll fall every time, because you're not here to just build you up and then be successful off on an island and just forget about everybody. I know there's people that do that, but if you really think about what your purpose is, what your calling is in this lifetime, it's required for you to help other people. It's required for you to live a life that is righteous, that inspires, uplifts, and brings people back to God. So when you understand that the foundation is set in stone when you have God, the foundation is firm when you have God. If you've built your tower and you feel that it's uneasy, it's rocking, it's swaying, sometimes it needs to crash. Sometimes you have to start all the way from the bottom to build yourself all the way back up with God. I feel like from the bottom, God has revealed my true passions and purpose to me. Like, I had many different ideas for my life. I had many different thought processes of what I thought I was supposed to be doing. Like, oh, I'm going to be a school teacher because I like kids, whatever the case may be. But God really had to shift my focus from what I thought my life was for, like what I thought I would be doing, to really what he called me to do. And the only way he was able to really shift my focus, I don't know about y'all, God took me all the way up and through there. Like, everything I thought I could hold on to as like a coping mechanism, God allowed me to go through this situation as bad as it was. And it wasn't like he lifted his hand immediately. Like, I remember I used to just keep praying that he would fix the situation. He would make the situation better. He would make the relationship better. He would change their heart. He would do these things to this situation. But at the end of the day, God was trying to destroy that situation. He was trying to remove me out of that environment. And he had to make me come crashing all the way down, all the way to the bottom of the floor, to let me know this is not what I have for you. This is not where I need you to be. This isn't who I've called you to be with. This is not who I called you to be. Like, God had to strip me of everything that I was using as a distraction, as a form of comfort, instead of coming to God. So that's why I say sometimes starting from the bottom is the best way, because you think that you're trying to build with this person, you're trying to build in this situation, you're trying to build with this mindset. But at the end of the day, God already knows this house is going to fall. He knows that this relationship is not going to last. He knows that this situation that you think you want is not what I have designed for you. So sometimes you build it and it looks like it's sturdy. Maybe you know it's not sturdy, but you think that you built it pretty good. You know, you put the cement in the cracks and you tried to fix it up really nice, but it was built on sand. It was built on mud. It wasn't built on a firm foundation. It didn't start with God, so of course it's not going to end with God, you know? So I feel like starting from the bottom and feeling like I didn't have much or have what I thought was ideal made me really realize the things that I did have and the strengths that I did have to play off of. Like, sometimes when you focus on everything that you think you don't have, it just makes you feel worse about your situation. The enemy tries to use that tactic to make you really feel like you have nothing. But if you focus on the lack thereof, you don't even realize the things that you actually have that are there. And God had to reveal to me that you're focused on all of these things. You're focused on this. You think you don't have this. You wish you had this. But what about all of this that I gave you over here? What about all of this that's to come if you just walk with me? You know what I'm saying? So instead of focusing on the lack in your life, start focusing on the things that's actually there. Start putting your focus on the things that's good. Have joy in the fact, in knowing that your situation is not going to last this way forever. Like, I couldn't think back then 7 years ahead. I couldn't think back then 10 years ahead. Like, I didn't know any of this was coming. But the fact that I can sit here right now is a testimony, is a blessing in itself. Some of y'all just got to keep going and keep moving your feet and allowing God to reveal those things to you. Like, you might feel like you're confused. You might feel like you're lost. You might actually feel like you're starting from the bottom. But even at the bottom, there's still things that you have that maybe others don't have. Confusion is only going to last for a moment. But as long as you keep going with God, He is going to open doors for you that no man can open and no man can shut. Man can step in the way of what God is going to do for your life and do in your life. And so although your environment may not be ideal, the people around you may not be motivating you or inspiring you, be the motivation and inspiration for yourself. Like if you don't have anyone pouring life into you and speaking life into you, do that for yourself, because you are the only one that can do it. I used to think that other people were supposed to uplift me. Other people were supposed to help make me whole. If I just surrounded myself by these people, or if I got in this relationship, or if I focused on these things, then I would feel whole again. But at the end of the day, those are voids that you're using to just shy away from the actual problems. Don't despise small beginnings, because those small beginnings are the very things that can make you great. And so when you sit here and you think that you're in a terrible situation, or you think that your situation is holding you back, I'm telling you right now, sometimes the best place to start is from the bottom. Allow God to rebuild you and build you the right way. Allow God to be that firm foundation that sets the tone for your life. Don't let other people set the tone or the standard for your life. Developing that strong foundation with God from the bottom, that's the best place. Because it's no more of you trying to say like, I think this is for me. I think I'm going to do this. That's fine. But give those requests and those ideas and those inspirations to God, and allow God to reveal that to you. But what I will say is, on my journey, like I said, I had a lot of ideas for my life, but it never really felt like it was really it. The things that I'm doing now with my business and having my own product line and inspiring and empowering women and doing all of that, that feels right. Even though I don't know necessarily where God is taking me, I'm not going to stop with my feet in the middle of the road. I'm going to keep walking and I'm going to keep moving my feet forward, because I know God is going to guide my steps and He's going to direct me. The whole inspiration behind this channel, She Is Guided, is the fact that God guides my steps. Proverbs 3 verse 5 through 6 states, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will direct your steps. He will guide your path. And so I feel like that scripture came to me in the most perfect time. Don't be stuck in your ways, okay? I feel like for about a year, I was stuck in the way I wanted to do things. But for the longest, that whole year, I felt God nudging me and pulling me and telling me like, stop doing nails, stop doing nails, stop doing nails, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know why He was saying that, but I did feel a lack of purpose while I was doing it. I kept feeling like it was unfulfilling. Once I had my son, God revealed to me that I was supposed to be starting a product line. And I'm so happy that I did, because it makes sense for my life now. So sometimes we have an initial idea, but God will tweak that along the way, or God will help renew that or revamp it or refine it as you go. Allow God to help lift you up on your journey. And if you feel like you're starting from the bottom, just know that that's the best place. Because sometimes when things are given to us too easily, we don't understand the value of what we've done. We don't understand the value of what we've accomplished. But if you go on a journey and you go through your ups and your downs, you go through the high moments and the low moments, when you get there, you appreciate the journey so much more, because you were humbled. You learned life lessons, life experiences that couldn't have been taught in any other way. You have a real relationship with God. God is the foundation, so you know that your house will stand. And so that's why I say the best place to start is from the bottom. And don't despise these small beginnings, because these small beginnings can actually make you great.